On today's show, 8 brutally honest truths you need to hear if you want to get your together.
Coming up next on Men Are So Smart.
No matter how much we believe we have our together, life carries many harsh truths. And no matter how much we may wish to run away from them, it's only through accepting them that we can take full responsibility for our lives. So, here are 8 brutally honest truths you need to hear if you want to get your together in written form.
So number 1, at some point you're going to regret how much time you spend on social media. Social media is amazing and I'm addicted to it, as are you. I see you on there all the time. But social media is also making us all more disconnected than we've ever been before through the illusion of increased connection. Yes, we're able to communicate with thousands of people with ease, but with what depth?
Yeah.
0.
I know.
Yeah, social media is robbing way too many of us of real connection with life and life experiences. Rather than looking around the world as we walk somewhere or ride public transit, we regress to what the digital world has to offer. If our addiction level stays the same, things could become really scary, and this doesn't even take into account the potential repercussions of exposing too much.
I just read about, I think in Texas, they made it a law now that you can't go into an intersection while you're texting.
Honolulu also.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe that's what it was.
And it makes perfect sense.
Now, if I could elaborate on this for just a minute. You know, what they're saying, the direction that we're going, is the way I want it to go. And not to the nth degree, but see...
To where you don't have to communicate with people at all.
Exactly. I could do it right here. And all I got to do is communicate with you.
That's acceptable.
And I don't mind that. That's all good. But when you try to get me on the phone, you really can't. And I'll prove it to you. What happened before we started recording show number 1?
Your phone rang.
My phone rang.
And you didn't answer it.
And it was a doctor's office.
Yeah, didn't answer.
And I didn't answer.
And they left a voicemail.
Yeah.
That was very nice.
We had to look at that for about 25 minutes.
Yeah, so we got that going for us.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
So there you go. You know, it just depends on which side of the fence you're on this one. It can be good and it can be bad. But that can be said about the entire internets. All of them.
Yeah.
Or the one.
Thank you, Al Gore.
All right, you got it. Number 2, your reactions are the problem. Are you listening to me? Are you listening? It happens. And quite often, it really sucks to have to go through or deal with it. But regardless of how challenging something is, it's always our reaction to it that will dictate how much it is going to impact our lives. You are the one that decides how much, ultimately, and for how long. Getting cut off the highway is going to tick you off. I said tick. And I've said the S word 4 times already.
4 or 5.
All right.
Who's counting?
Getting cut off on the highway is going to piss you off.
There you go.
And you decide how much someone's poor opinion of you is going to make you shell up in insecurity. Let your natural reactions happen. But then consciously choose how long you want to let them impact everything else. That's number 2.
Yeah. And by the same token, you don't want to follow that person that cut you off until they get off the freeway and then have a confrontation on the side of the road.
Not smart at all.
Yeah, that's so not necessary.
So many people have guns that shouldn't.
Hey, you know what? It happens every day, and probably you might be the cause of it. If somebody turns on their turn signal and you speed up so they can't get in, you're probably a gigantic part of the problem, not the solution. Mm-hmm. So number 3, the riskiest thing you can do is avoid risk.
Tell me more.
I'm going to.
Please.
Whether or not you consider yourself a risk taker, there is nothing more risky than complacency. I'm not suggesting you can't get to the point where you're truly happy with your life and therefore simply want to sustain that lifestyle, but suggesting that never taking any risks is about as dangerous as it gets. Stop playing small if you know you want to play big, and stop telling yourself this is good enough. If you only know deep down that you would love to do, create, and have so much more, the cost of taking that risk is your long-term happiness.
You know, on that topic, I gotta say, when it comes to this particular show, Men Are So Smart, it was an idea of mine that goes back how many years, Ronnie? At 5?
Probably at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 years ago, I was talking to Ron saying that this is what I wanted to do and the direction that I wanted to go. And, you know, I'll be the first to admit, I'm pretty passionate about this. And, you know, we don't make a dime. We do this and we're committed to this, not for the glitz and the glamour today, but somewhere down the line, we hope that this catches on and people begin to see it more and more and more. And that is why we do this. It's for the passion. It's not for the right now. It's for the long term. But at least we're on the road to doing it.
Yeah.
All right, number 4, you should always have enough money for what matters. I would love to attend that seminar or buy that course that can change my life, but money is too tight right now, as true as that may sound. You should always have more than enough to do the things that really matter. The biggest obstacle is the way we instead spend it on things we don't need. We don't process buying a $7 premium coffee daily as an investment in nothing, but we do overthink and see spending a couple $100s on something life-changing as too much. It doesn't make sense, people. I'm not suggesting we start spending recklessly or never treat ourselves, but rather that we do reassess how we currently spend our money on $15 hamburgers in Lake Tahoe.
Although if that makes you happy...
Well, I was sure hungry.
Yeah. You know, I definitely agree with this. Hey, we have dogs. Dogs are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
They eat a lot of dollars worth of food every day. They are not kind to your own personal property.
No. What does a vet bill cost when you go?
I'm going today.
$300?
Heidi is due for 3 shots. It's going to cost me $100 plus an office visit. So it's about $140, I think. And then Buster will be due at some time, and hey, but you know what? I can't imagine living without dogs. Whatever it costs is worth it, and so it's not something we even consider. So there are things in your life that you have to have, and money supplies them, and so, you know, if you have several of those things, don't deny yourself.
Bigger than that, sometimes in your life, it is not your purpose to be a pet owner. When I say that, what I mean is sometimes when we're young and we move out on our own to get an apartment or a house for that matter, we acquire a pet. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, a roommate's moving to South Carolina and this other guy can't afford his rent and is 6 months behind, and you're stuck with a house and you have a pet that you can't take care of. That's not the time to have a pet.
Right.
Okay, so keep that in mind as well. Once you become responsible for another creature, be it an animal or a person, your priorities really have to change immensely.
And my daughter and her fiance have a dog as of about a year ago, and they live in an apartment in San Francisco. And they've had to make a lot of concessions.
Oh, holy cow, yes, walking and pooping and peeing.
Yes, in not only their personal life, but in their work life. But you know what? Again, they're kind of following the same trend that my wife and I have followed, is that dogs make life just a tiny bit more enjoyable.
You got to remember that at 3 a.m.
Yes, and it's not for everybody. Honestly, my wife and I don't travel a lot, and when we do, it's expensive to board them.
Oh, of course.
If you can't find something, the place we use is $75 a day.
Holy cow.
And sometimes that's more than we spend on a hotel.
Right.
So, but hey, if whatever your passion is, though, if it's not pets, if it happens to be motorcycles or bicycles or gardening, hey, spend some money on what makes you happy. Number 5, and I love this one, people are going to hate you no matter what you do. Actually, some people, not everybody, but some people are going to hate you no matter what you do. You can try to people please your entire life, but no matter what, some people are always going to dislike you. Get over it. So rather than wasting your time trying to match what you think is most acceptable, spend that time accepting exactly who you are.
I once learned in radio many, 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 many years ago that about half the people are going to love you and half the people are going to hate you, no matter what you do. So saying that just consistently being who you are is important is evident in that, what I've just said. Now, here's the thing to that. If you could get 51%...
That seems like it's worth it.
51 versus 49, there you go. That's what I strive for in my life. I just want to get 51% of you to like me. The other 49%, meh.
See, now, I have a genetic defect that if somebody is disappointed in me, I can't live with myself. If I've done something that disappointed somebody, strictly based on something I did, I will fret about that for weeks at a time. And I try to always be early. I don't want people to have to wait for me at anything, at a dinner or whatever. And it's just, and nobody cares. If you're 5 or 10 minutes late, really most people could care less. My wife and I will go out to dinner with people who are maybe a half hour late. And we'll sit there and we just suck it up when we deal with it. And we always know that they're going to be late. And that's just how it is. That's how some people are.
Yeah.
And you can't fret too much about it. But still, my wife, she takes a long time to get ready. But she knows it. And so she starts getting ready typically early enough in advance that we can leave here and be there hopefully right on time. And like I said, it's just a genetic defect that I have that, hey, maybe you're okay with it.
I was late today, and I really don't have a great explanation. Number 7, people don't think of you as much as you think they do. This is key. From our perspective, the whole world revolves around us. But there are 7 billion people who see it the same way. While we are all not inherently selfish or self-obsessed, we are all far more concerned with how we may be perceived by others than how we perceive them. So once again, embrace your true self and find peace in knowing that people are too concerned with themselves to give you as much attention as you think they should.
I get it. I totally get that.
It's not always about you.
Yeah, it really isn't.
And it comes down to simple terms, like using a direction signal.
Yeah.
It's not all about you.
Well, people have to also understand that everybody lives in their own little circle. And although you may be next to me in a car, your circle may intersect mine by a tiny little bit. That's about the only thing I have to do with you. So if we have an overlapping circle for a second, that's all I care about you. Same thing if I go to a grocery store or any type of store. The person that helps me, I don't really care that much about their personal life, honestly. I have my own stuff to worry about. So, it's important to be, to have empathy for other people. But quite honestly, everybody has important stuff going on in their life. Next, blaming only makes you weaker. In the moment, to unjustified direct blame towards a circumstance or other person may seem relieving, but in the long term, it really takes its toll. The less you take responsibility for your actions and decision making, the weaker you become mentally. Taking responsibility may come with some immediate repercussions, but over time, it builds a life founded on honesty, and it strengthens your ability to tackle challenges when they do arise. Now, see, this is kind of what I was alluding to earlier about my genetic flaw. So if we are late, I'm not going to try to put my blame on my wife because she took a half hour longer to get ready than she should have. Hey, that's kind of on me that I didn't give her enough maybe advance notice that we're going to go out and do something. So Hey, suck it up, buttercup. Accept responsibility.
Own it.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I screwed up.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
Yep. It happens.
It's not. Well, Tim next door, you know that guy with the ladder? It's not that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was late.
Yep.
On this episode, we've been talking about 8 brutally honest truths you need to hear if you want to get your shit together. Finally, number 8. Not even the perfect relationship is going to complete you. I have close friends whose long-term romantic relationships I not only admire, but also hope to one day experience. But even then, who seem to have found the right one, they recognize that truth, happiness, comes from within and can never be filled by another. Relationships are an extension of our happiness and not the basis of it. So focus on strengthening the one with yourself, and all of the others will follow accordingly.
Yep. And you know what? In many cases, you'll find that the one that you love the most is sometimes the focus of your greatest anxiety. So in the end, it's all worth it. Again, just suck it up, buttercup.
You know, I have a friend who is, due to no fault of her own, single. And she really wants to be in a relationship.
As does everybody. Well, almost everybody.
And I wonder if the person that I see is just merely a shell of herself without this said relationship. And I think when you get into this point, when you go looking for love, you're not going to find it. No matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
And, you know, for hundreds of years, people have written self-help books.
Yeah.
And I've read 500,000 of them or so. And I can tell you that when people say to you, now's a really good time to work on yourself, that's really a great idea.
Yeah.
Now, what does it take to do that? Well, I don't want to lecture here, although I will. If you haven't been to a movie by yourself, then you haven't tested yourself. If you haven't gone out for a dinner out at a restaurant, whatever it might be, Applebee's or something, by yourself and had dinner, then you're not testing yourself to see if you're ready. When you do these things and can do them by yourself, something happens. It's magical. It's like an aura that you give off. There are a couple of different types of auras, I believe. Number one is a very negative aura, and it's almost like a red color around the person. And when you see that, and I've talked about this before in a previous episode, women can see that in men because they give off this desperation aura. Mm-hmm. Women don't want any part of that.
No.
They want nothing but confidence. That's what they want to see in a man. So what I'm saying is, if you haven't worked on yourself and you don't have that confidence, you haven't been working towards that, they're going to read right through it. They're going to see right through that sort of an aura. Now, conversely, after you've done a few of these things by yourself, not that there's anything wrong with going out with a bunch of other people in a group or whatever,
right,
but sometimes you need to find your inner self, because that's what changes that red aura to a blue aura where you become more acceptable. Now, I'm not talking about meditating and chakras and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying that you need to test yourself as a person. And then when you can do those sorts of things, you're going to find more people will be attracted to you.
Now, let me ask you this, because I know a lot of people who are divorced once, twice, numerous times, mm-hmm. that seem like perfectly great people. Mm-hmm. But yet there's obviously something about them that once they become close with somebody, they completely change it up. How is that possible that they can have this shell that is so amazingly perfect on the outside, and there's something inherently wrong inside the shell?
Well, I think that everybody has their own demons. And some deal with them differently. Some are extroverts and some are introverts. And I can tell you that sometimes the most extroverted person from the outside can be one of the most depressed people on the inside. And you're only seeing this person for a short amount of time. It's kind of like in the early phase of a relationship when you're dating and maybe spending the night at the other person's house. You only see their great behavior.
Right.
You know, you haven't washed their underwear yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is what you're seeing in people, and not only in real life, but also on Facebook. That's why there's so many problems with Facebook's peoples that are addicted to it.
Yeah.
You're seeing other people's bright and shining moments. However, they may just be this long. Mm. In reality, maybe there's that much that's really bad. And they're maybe trying to cover for it. I can say to a certain extent, I know people like this.
Yeah. I think we all do.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, if I could only live some of the lives that these people live on Facebook.
Yeah.
They're just, I mean, it would be nothing but kittens and sunshine.
Yeah, on Hawaiian beaches.
Yeah. But obviously, nobody has a life that is nothing but peaks. Mm-hmm. There are peaks and then valleys. And, you know, they kind of have to equal out at some point.
You know, one of the things that I notice as we've acquired a few more years here, a lot of times I look on Facebook and I'll see friends from the past, many, many, many years ago, and I see them doing all these incredible things like going on cruises and special dinners at the White House, and I see all these bright and shining moments that they have. But you know what the one thing is that I never see in these pictures? Children or grandchildren.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes me wonder, you know, do they really have that great a life? Did they at some point make the decision that they really shouldn't have kids? Or in the same token, they couldn't have kids? So you don't know.
Yeah.
And you can only guess. And that's where that whole 50% of the people are going to like you and 50% of the people are going to hate you comes in.
I have 51% that love me, by the way.
Well, Ronnie, I hope I'm that 1%.
I think you're still stuck in the middle somewhere.
I was hoping to push you right over the top.
But we're working on that.
Didn't happen.
I'm going to try to.
Not in this episode.
Yeah.
Maybe the next one.
We'll try.
That'll be happening next, I believe. I really don't know. All right, so there you go. Those are some truths that you need to hear. And there's a couple that are more important than others. But remember, the world isn't always about you.
No. Rarely, honestly.
Take an interest in your friends' lives.
Yep.
You know, when people text you, ask how they're doing. I don't want to talk about me. Let's talk about you. How was your day today? You know, it makes people feel better. It makes for better friendships.
Yep.
All right, we hope you've enjoyed this brief and shining moment that we've had with you in the last 20 or so minutes. And we hope that you watched all the way through. If you did and enjoyed, please check liked. We'd like that. If you feel that you'd like to leave a comment, you could do that as well below. There are all of the ways that folks can get a hold of us via our social media and our email and such. And please, subscribe to the channel. It's the Gallagher Entertainment Network. And right above my shoulder here, a little ball should be popping up. It'll give you a chance to subscribe to the channel. It's free. It doesn't cost you a dime. We're doing this because we love to do this, and we hope that you enjoy watching it. Just that simple. I'm Lou Gallagher.
Corvette Ronnie.
That's going to do it for Men Are So Smart. We'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.